Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolfe.
It's a cold and gloomy evening across the state line today, and as it has been through the majority of the afternoon, our highest temperature of the day was only 13 in Rockford, and that colder weather still sticking with us as we head into the night tonight. Holding on to an overcast sky with our Mercy Health SkyTrack camera overlooking downtown Rockford on the Supply Corps building that is brought to us by Window World. But you start to see a little bit of that cloud cover begin to sink down to the south. That line of where the more thick cloud cover is now entering some of our southern Wisconsin counties. Meanwhile, we had some light snow flurries down to south of Rockford and even some accumulating snow downstate further into central Illinois. Locally here, we remained dry through the majority of the day, but it was a cold day. As I mentioned earlier, our highest temperature was only 13, and that's where we still sit now in Rockford, as well as 13 in Rochelle, 12 in DeKalb, 9 right now in Poplar Grove and in Monroe, 12 as well out in Freeport. You see the cooler air mass sitting the core of it, at least up to our north and to our west, but much milder air when you look down to the south. Gradually speaking, some of that milder air will be set to move in as we head into these next few days. Not really here in the night tonight, though. Another brutally cold night for many of us as temperatures will continue to drop underneath a clearing sky down into the single digits, and a few spots may even get at least pretty close to that 0-degree mark, depending on how quickly some spots see that clearing move in. Tomorrow, though, will be a little bit milder compared to where we have been. We're up to 25 for the afternoon, partly cloudy sky, still a bit chilly, but our winds will be coming out of the east-southeast, gusting to around 15 or possibly 20 miles per hour, and that is where we are going to see some of that milder air start to move in. We go to Futurecast now and look at how our warm-up also plays into our precipitation chances. We do have the clear sky overnight tonight, allowing many spots down into the single digits, back up into the 20s pretty quickly early on tomorrow, and overnight Friday night and Saturday, those numbers don't really fall off very far. But going into Saturday morning, we have our next round of precipitation that moves in, possibly in the form of some mixed precipitation when it onsets. Now, lately, these computer models have been trending a little bit slower and a little bit further west with the onset of that precipitation. If it were to onset during the early part of that morning, look at where our temperatures will be. They will be pretty close to, if not below, that freezing mark, and that may allow for that mixture of precipitation to happen, including the potential for some freezing rain, given that the surface of our temperatures still very cold. We've been in the single digits and in the teens, so our surfaces will likely be at that freezing mark even a little bit longer than our air temperatures will start to warm. But if that precipitation onsets a little bit later, possibly into the afternoon or early evening, it would likely fall in the form of rain, given that that milder air will still be working its way in. Our numbers climbing into the mid and upper 30s. Either way, we will be left with some periods of steady rain showers then as we head into the late evening on Saturday and possibly going into the early part of Sunday morning before most of that rain pivots out of the region. So here's what we're looking at least initially. I do think there are a few spots that could onset as freezing rain, especially when you look to the west, as our surface temperature will be in the 20s during that time. In those locations, a glaze of ice accumulation may be possible, but toward the afternoon and evening, everything will switch back over to rain and will likely melt any of that frozen precipitation that we will have. Warm up on the way through the weekend, back up to 38 Saturday, 42 on Sunday, then even near 50 on Monday before our next cool down brings us back into the 30s for the end of the week.